Hello, church. Today is Ash Wednesday. It is a day when we gather to honestly name our brokenness, to confess before God and one another our sin, the ways in which we have failed to live out God's dream of love for the world. It's also a day where we gather to be reminded that we are loved, that in our brokenness, God meets us here and calls us beloved. And today is Ash Wednesday, and it's the beginning of this season of Lent, a season of discipleship, a season of reflection on what it means to follow Jesus and to live out God's love for the world. On a typical Ash Wednesday, we would gather as beloved community and we would mark the sign of the cross on each other's foreheads with ash burned from last year's palm branches. And we would hear the words, "Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return." Tonight, you are encouraged as a household to trace the sign of the cross on your forehead. You can use dark colored eyeshadow or a bowl of water. You can use the stickers found in your at home kit, or just simply use your finger. And in the very same space that you were marked with the cross of Christ at your baptism, you are reminded that whether we live or whether we die, we belong to God. And then your family is also invited to participate in this prayer practice. That as we hear these words from Psalm 51, we encourage you to take your charcoal pencil and paper and to draw a cross that your family can use throughout this season of Lent. As we join together in reflecting on how God is calling us into this new way of life together, a new way of being beloved community, of seeing the image of God in all who we meet, and in sharing God's love with all creation.
A reading from Psalm 51. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your steadfast love. According to your abundant mercy, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Against you, you alone have I sinned, and done what is evil in your sight, so that you are justified in your sentence and blameless when you pass judgment. Indeed, I was born guilty, a sinner when my mother conceived me. You desire truth in my inward being. Therefore teach me wisdom in my secret heart. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones that you have crushed rejoice. Hide your face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and put a new and right spirit within me. Do not cast me away from your presence, and do not take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and sustain in me a willing spirit. Then I will teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will return to you. Deliver me from bloodshed, O God of my salvation, and my tongue will sing aloud of your deliverance. O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. For you have no delight in sacrifice. If I were to give a burnt offering, you would not be pleased. The sacrifice acceptable to God is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O God. You will not despise.